How much room for creativity is there in your business, in your industry, in your life? We're born creative, but our schools, companies, and pressures of society pull us away from our true creative capacity. And most of us go on to do absolutely nothing about it. But one individual refused to go along with the crowd, refused to do things same old, refused to accept that we have to live without creativity in a modern, cookie-cutter, mass-marketed world. Josh Linkner was 13 when he began playing jazz professionally. He's still improvising today, but not only in smoky jazz clubs. An early internet visionary, Josh started 4 companies and sold 3 of them before he was 30, including one of the first web marketing agencies, Global Link New Media, in 1995. His most recent company, ePrize, has revolutionized an industry. Josh took the sleepy, old-fashioned world of sweepstakes and promotions and dared to be different. He created a new business model that services 74 of the top 100 brands, and now does 300% more business than his nearest competitor. Through his creativity, Josh Linkner turned that industry upside down. Now he's set his sights on the entire world of work. He's on a mission to make the world a more creative planet. Along the way, Josh and ePrize have won just about every entrepreneurial award there is, including Red Herring's Top 100 Technology Firms in North America, the Inc. 500 5 years in a row, the #1 fastest growing company on the Promo 100, and Fast Company's Fast 50 Reader's Choice. Josh has been named the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, one of Crane's 40 Under 40, Automation Alley's CEO of the Year, the Inc. Magazine Entrepreneur of the Year finalist, and the Executive of the Year by the Detroit Executive Association. Josh's creativity continues to spread and has captured the attention of millions. He's been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Fast Company, Inc. Magazine, Ad Age, the Financial Times, Brand Week, USA Today, Fox Business, and CNBC. So get ready to have your thinking challenged. Get ready to let go of your preconceptions about the way business is done. Get ready to join Josh Linkner in the Creativity Fast Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give a big warm welcome to Josh Linkner.
So why now? You might be thinking, it wasn't that important 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Why now? Well, as I said, the world has changed dramatically. For one, we're under intense commoditization. Advantages of the past have become commoditized. Everyone's playing catch-up. It's like an arms race. Think about the information age. Even information itself has largely become commoditized with the invention of Google and Wikipedia. Next is speed. As we all know, the world is moving at a dramatic pace. Complete business cycles that used to last a decade or more are now happening in a matter of months. Barriers to entry have completely dropped. Used to be in the industrial age, if you had a great idea, you'd still need to build a factory and build distribution channels and raise capital. Nowadays, a kid in a college dorm room with a high-speed internet connection can launch Facebook and become a billionaire in 18 months. And finally, globalization, and more specifically, cost-cutting. In the middle of a recession, what do companies do? They cut the cost, right? They say, all right, we're going to cut our way to profitability. The problem is that's already been out of the system, and you can only cut your way so far. At some point, as a company, you need to invent and grow and innovate in order to win. In the new rules of engagement, the world is too complex and too fast to follow an operating manual to success. We all are going to need to tap in and innovate and improvise in order to win. We're going to go right to ground zero, right to the epicenter of creativity, which clearly is the British government. Known for their originality and uniqueness. Well, the British government recently did a study. The Ministry of Education did a study. And they did some tests for kids, how they identified, did they feel like they were creative or not? Were they creative, yes or no? So they asked this study to kids who were entering kindergarten, their equivalent of kindergarten. And they found out that 98% of children said, yeah, I'm creative. I'm a creative person. Well, they asked that same question to graduating seniors. What do you think the number was? Anybody? 50%? 30%? 2%. 2%. How does that happen? How does school take us from 98% of kids saying we're creative We go through school, which is supposed to prepare us for life, and we end up with 2%. What is going on here? What's going on is that we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. Think back when you were a kid. There was no such thing as a cardboard box, right? It was a fort or a Barbie mansion or a pirate ship. We played for hours. You put a bunch of 6-year-olds in a room with toys, hours and hours of endless imagination. If we're all in that same room, 45 seconds later, we're checking our BlackBerries and our iPhones. So we start out in the world as these bright, vibrant, imaginative kids, and over time our schools and our educational systems and our companies and our organizations kind of beat it out of us, don't they? And what ends up happening is we become the thing that we fear the most. Grumpy adults. AKA our parents. And not the cool parents in the Viagra commercials. So I want you to think about creativity for a second as a muscle. All humans have muscles. And if we exercise them, we go to the gym, we really work out, we will build muscle mass. Any one of us, no matter how we were born. If we don't, what happens? They atrophy. They just don't work very much. So unfortunately, we're in a situation where most of us, this nation really, is kind of scrawny. We're kind of scrawny. But I'm going to share some very specific techniques that you can take with you today, right out of here, the minute you leave, that will allow you to get pumped up. Craig, thanks for shooting this picture earlier this morning. I was kind of getting ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to think about the number 1 for a second. One idea is all it takes to change your life, to change your career, to change your company. One idea is all it takes. And that one idea is inside each of you right now. So let's figure out how to bring it out. As you saw from the introduction, I'm a jazz guy. And jazz is a cool form of art in that it's real time. You can't go back and correct mistakes. And it's spontaneous creativity. It's improvisational. When you're playing jazz, 99% of the notes you make up as you go, and only 1% are on the written page. But that 1% is really important, because that 1% tells the musicians important things, like here's the chord structure, here's the tempo, here's the key signature, here's some guideposts. So that scaffolding, if you will, enables creativity. It doesn't restrict it. There is a form of jazz called free jazz, which is horrendous, where there's no scaffolding and it's just sounds like a train wreck. So again, that little bit of guidance really helps people bring out their best creativity and work together as a group. What I started to realize, having been in business now for 20-some years, is that there is no similar framework in the business world. If you think about it, there's business systems and processes for everything, right? How do you answer the phone? How do you set the alarm? How do you deal with a customer complaint? But creativity is often left to happen by chance. It's supposed to happen in the shadows. Like, when do you sit down and say, okay, I'm going to schedule 2 hours to be creative? Doesn't often happen. So I felt that there was a burning need in the business world for a proven system to build creativity. So I did a bunch of research and wrote a book about it. It's called Disciplined Dreaming, which is a proven system to drive breakthrough creativity. And in preparing for the book, I not only drew on my own entrepreneurial experiences and jazz experiences, of course, but I also researched quite a bit. So I interviewed 200 thought leaders. I interviewed artists, musicians, billionaires, CEOs, entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders, and tried to boil all this information down into a really simple, easy-to-follow process. So I'm going to share with you that process today and give you some things, again, that you can take out immediately and put to use. So the system goes like this. There's 5 simple steps. The first one is ask. And in ask, what you're doing is you're sort of identifying the creative challenge. What are you directing your creativity towards? And you're awakening your curiosity and awareness. You're getting ready to create. The next step is one of preparation, where you're preparing your mind, your physical surroundings, and in fact your culture of your organization to bring out maximum creativity. Step 3 is discover. And in discover, what you're doing is you're looking under the rocks. You're finding creativity in the places that it hides.